our guests join us on the stage. Now, let's not be shy now. Thank you, now. Round of applause for you. We have the head chancellor here. Please, sir. Welcome to the stage. And then we have, is Herbert here? Please, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Herbert Kwaku Bukari. Please take a seat. And we hopefully will have the producer of the film, Justice Beidou, one of the producers, online. So do bear with us with that. We're almost there.
Justice, are you here?
Priscilla. Oh, I just need the lights up. Yeah.
Dance Ghana is screening in Ghana right now as well. Amazing. It feels transatlantic. The timing is 65. So maybe it was supposed to be rescheduled after all. That's really, really good.
Well, I'm just going through the lights from the back, but I think we've got Justice on screen. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to do that. Just one minute.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your patience. Ah, that's better. Yeah. Appreciate your patience. So, to get us started,
Would you guys mind just taking one step forward with your chairs? It just really helps for the projector not being on your head. Cool. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we'll do.
Wonderful. Appreciate it. Right. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves again and tell us what you thought of the film initially. Is that okay? Yes.
Okay.
Would you like to go first?
All right.
Yeah, recorded.
Dr. Herbert Bukari. I am a Ghanaian. I was a young pioneer, and in the day of independence, I was at Cape Coast at my secondary school at the Southern College. They made us all go out to a big park, and then they somehow managed to video the thing so that we could see what Nkrumah was doing at the same time. And after he finished, then he spoke to us, and then we left back to our schools. Cape Coast, in fact, is the center of education in Ghana. It's not the capital, but because it's at the coast, most of the churches had branches there: Anglican Church, Presbyterian Church, Methodist Church, and so on, Alcatia, and so on. So there are a lot of schools in Cape Coast. And after we finished that, we went back, and there were a few who didn't attend, and because of that, we were asked to tell them what we saw and what we thought about it. And we said that it. I'm not sure it was happening. So that was the beginning. But before then, the independence was 57. And 57, I was in Form 5. That was the year I did my O levels. So finishing that, I went back and I did my A levels, which I finished in 59. And then after I finished, I went to stay with my uncle in Accra. And he was a politician, an MP, and he belonged to CPP. And because of that, he asked for permission, or they asked them if they had children who could come to join the Young Pioneers Squad. So he asked me when he got up one day, he said, I'm not going to this thing, but come with me. And I said, well, I said, you find out. So he took me, we went to Blacktown House, and then he said, this is my nephew. And he said, okay, we can stay. And they were so nice about it. And before the day ended, the woman came out and said, he wants us to learn about independence, to learn about how country is run, to learn about how we are being run by the imperialists. They rob our gold, diamond, and everything. And we have people work, they pay them pittance, and they take the money back to their countries. So we are suffering. So he hopes that we, the young pioneers, if we manage to can send us a project, we can do it, to do engineering, that's what he wanted mainly. And then other subjects so that when we come back, he knows where they will put us so that we will help develop Ghana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, could you tell us quickly about yourself and what your thoughts of the films initially?
Thank you so much. My name is Mauto Alifo. I'm the head of Chancery of the Ghana High Commission in London. Until September last year, I served also as an acting High Commissioner. And I must say, I like documentaries by the nature of the work I do, but this is something of exceptional. This is perhaps my best documentary.
Beautiful. Now,
Hello everyone, my name is Nadia Kwe and I'm a cultural educator, a cultural researcher. So the majority of my work is about reconnecting Ghana people, especially Ndandi people in the diaspora, to their culture. Not just because that's your heritage, but I really believe that African culture and traditions are a roadmap to us living as optimal people. I really believe there is an energy in African people that we have to learn to harness to give us new ways for healthcare, new ideas for governance. And by understanding your culture and your language, you're offered another framework where you can live in that way. Because clearly, looking at our health outcomes, our education outcomes, what we currently live in is not working for us. Yes. And so when I was watching this movie, this documentary, actually, I was very emotional. I was at the front trying not to make a fool of myself. Because it was a reminder of the spirit that Kwame Nkrumah had, Chris Hesse had, was that energy that we all have as a people. And in order for it to be crushed, somebody else from his community had to be used by the neo-colonial powers who are still using the same tactics to try and break it down. What they don't know is that the energy is so strong that it will keep growing, it will keep coming back up. And so I'm in my mind thinking, Chris Hesse has already said to us, he's passing it on to the next generation. Are we willing to make the sacrifices that he has made? Are we willing to do the same thing? So in my mind, it was just making so yeah, that's the first thing that came when I was, watching.
thank you so much. Mr. Beatty, sir, please tell us about this film of yours. We are so happy you allowed us to screen it.
Yes, and I'm happy that we are able to bring this film to London because of the very unique ties that our country shares with the United Kingdom, and we are so encouraged that we have such an array of important people coming to see this film and share in this story. It's been an incredible 5 years for all of us that have been involved in this film. Myself, as a young journalist, I came to study for my master's in documentary production in Cardiff, in Wales, in 2014. And I remember in our first documentary class, the facilitator asked each of us that had come from several parts of the world to introduce a documentary film that had been made from our various countries about someone important. And I remember this day in 2014, I thought of all the people that we had from Ghana, Yas Santua, Konfuanoche, all the very important heroes. And I couldn't remember any film about any of these people. It was quite a shameful thing for me to admit that as a documentary producer then, we hadn't been able to bring some of these stories to the world. And so when Ben Proudfoot and I spoke whilst we were working in Accra in 2021 about making this film and meeting Chris Hesse, it was for me an opportunity to right a wrong that I thought should have happened many, many years ago. And so we are happy, and the feedback that we've received, we've just recently done the two screenings in Accra, and it's been incredible feedback from everybody who thinks that this is an incredible story, and we are excited about the sort of activism that it is inspiring in many people across the world.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I don't want to cause an embarrassment here, so I beg forgiveness. But can we also acknowledge the grandson of the great President Kwame Nkrumah? He's in this room right now. Would you mind putting your hand up, sir? God bless you. You must be so proud to see a film. Have you seen the film already?
I've seen it before, but I think they've added some extra scenes.
Excellent. Thank you once again for joining us. Right, so I want us to have a conversation here. So at any point, please put your hand up if you want to ask any questions or make any comments or statements. Would anybody like to say anything now? Go ahead, young man.
How long did it take to make the film?
Yes, I think Justice just said 5 years. Is that correct?
Yes, we started working on this film in August of 2021, so it's taken us roughly about 5 years. Yes.
Fantastic.
Can you ask a question?
Please.
It's a wonderful documentary. I'm so pleased that I'm able to kind of watch it here. So thank you, everybody who contributed to it. One simple question: is Rex Cinema still looking that good?
Is Rex Cinema still looking that good? Does anybody know? Justice?
Um, it should be, because this is less than 2 years ago that we did the temporary renovation in order to be able to film the scenes that we did there. And so it should be, but the making of Rex itself is for the 60s and 70s era. And so I think a lot more work needs to be done to bring it to the level where it is modern enough that could attract especially people of this generation to want to go there and watch films as it used to be in the pre-colonial and even around independence time. So yes, Rex is still up and running. Unfortunately, as some of you may have heard, we lost Mr. Ado only this week, and it's been such a painful experience for all of us who have been involved in this film. Mr. Ado was the last person that was really protecting the heritage that Rex is and has become to all of us who love film. And we hope that this film and what it has become will be a perfect testimony for a life well lived for him.
Please, you. Go ahead, my dear.
Okay, yeah. This was a real piece of work. It has really opened my eyes. And I don't say this lightly at all. So I'm Dominican Ghanaian, and I'm a film director. And taking in this film was an experience. It really took me on a journey. And I think what I also appreciated from a cinematography point of view was the last scene where Chris was waving his hand, taking the applause when everyone was watching the film. And it reminded me like of the scene with Kwame when he was taking that stance as well, when he got freedom. And I guess maybe for Chris, it was the freedom of seeing this thing come alive. And I thought that was so powerful. And I think my contribution to the discussion is probably, I think as Africans, we are born storytellers. we have born storytellers, and I think everyone has the opportunity to tell a story because we know how to tell a good story. So I think we need to just get up and do it. You know, tell our stories. You know, work with what we have, work with the resources that we have. I'm so inspired by this film, truly. You know, on my own journey to do my documentary in December in Ghana. So yeah, thank you for this piece of work. It's gonna have a lasting legacy. It definitely has impacted me personally. So thank you.
Well done. Speechless. It's just brilliant. But I wanted to know two things. One, the how I suppose this is a question for. Sorry, I didn't catch the
Justice, maybe.
just a sec. I'd love for him to explain the kind of dramatic elements. Yes, it's a documentary, but I love the inclusion of docudrama, the drama element where we see and also a little bit about the editing process, because editing is key. What is left on the floor, the editing floor, is really kind of important. But I just wondered just how you worked with Chris in terms of him doing the drama elements, and then if you can talk a little bit about the editing process.
Sorry if the moderator could just repeat. I have an idea what she was asking, but I lost the sound a bit because it's far away.
Yeah, so it's a two-part question. The first part was the sort of docudrama, yeah, elements of it, how you manage that, and the second part was the editing process.
I think all credit to Ben Parkfoot, the director who has led us on this project. He's an incredibly talented filmmaker, two-time Academy winning filmmaker, and so for especially for people like myself and any averagely educated Ghanaian, the story of Kwame Nkrumah is no news. It's something that everybody knows, even if you are averagely educated from Ghana. And so for some of us, we had to be able to step out of the norm and really be able to willing to go the extra mile in order that we are able to bring the story to life. And I remember that when this project started, it was initially meant to be a short film, which was just supposed to be like a 10-minute interview with Chris, because we really um, struggled at the beginning to identify which other elements that could come together in order that we are able to add value to what many people already knew about Kwame Nkrumah and about Ghana's history and about our independence. And it's also part of the reasons why it had to go this long haul. It took us 5 years to do all of this. And so I think it really went through a process where one thing led to the other. I remember when Ben and the other team went back to the US, they really kept speaking to several people across continents, not just in the US, about their experiences. There were people that we looked at and said, what new angle, what fresh angle would this person bring to the story? What new thing will this person bring to the story? And it's part of the reason why Anita came into the story, because part of the things that Ben wanted to do was to draw a connection between Chris Hesse, the sort of first generation Ghanaian makers, and then someone like Anita, who is sort of like the generation now Ghanaian filmmakers, and how they come to connect. And the way that he was able to do it was to find that unique friendship between Chris and Anita, and how they worked together to be able to protect the film archive that is currently stored in London. Part of the things that um, came we did, which I thought added on to the story and its richness, was the depth that we had to be taken in order to be able to retrieve all of these archive footage, some of it never seen in about 60 years. the extent which the archivists had to go, the editors, the tons of videos that had to be looked through. I remember having a chat with the guy who actually worked on the archive footage when we did the premiere in Toronto last year, and he was telling me the length of film, sometimes 6 hours of film, because if you look, ordinarily when people are filming at events, nobody films the cameraman. Everybody's focus is on the people, the characters who are the main people speaking. And so to be able to have that patience to go through hours and hours of film footage to see Chris walking around where Osajifo was either coming off a plane or addressing people was really incredible. And for me, as a young Ghanaian filmmaker myself, it teaches me more than I knew about the sort of patience that you need to have to be able to let a story come alive in order that it adds to the richness. And so yes, I think a lot of work has gone into it, the editing, and this is a film that is being done by several people. Like the list is endless of people that have brought in their talent, brought in their knowledge and resources to be able to make it happen.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Coming back to the panel, and I'll come back to you guys. Mr. Bakari, sir. This one is very political, and I believe you spent time with the great man. Could you tell us some of what happened in the film? Do you recognise some of it? Can you tell us some of your experiences?
Well, there are parts of Accra I recognized, and most of it was done outside. So there isn't anything in the Flagstaff house where we young pioneers used to go so that we had more to the story. So that, in fact, what happened whenever we get there to the Flagstaff house, we were led by a man called Tamia Damafio. Tamia Damafio, you have different people with him, and sometimes we would have some MPs. They were not by force, but maybe they wanted to know more about socialism and about everything else. So they also used to come sometimes, depending on what we were going to discuss. So we got to know them, discuss things with them. And one thing that we also did was learn songs there. And most of the songs praising Nkrumah or telling them what to do. And when the opposition insults us, we also make songs to insult them back. So that was going on, but there were songs like Forward Ever, Forward Ever, Backward Ever, in the struggle of the sea. There is been glory. So that one is just telling them some of the achievements of the people.
Thank you so much, sir. Amazing. This is part of the history on oral history, audiovisual history. This is so, so important. God bless you, sir. Right, next. You, carrying on with the political theme, this is, having a film like this, and you're working for the Ghanaian High Commission, is, do you work like an ambassador? You're in different countries, and to have a film like this to show how much we should be proud about Ghana. Do you feel this is a great tool? Because sometimes we don't know, and it's shocking how much history we don't know, especially the ones here in the diaspora. Born here, we're not taught this in our schools. We can't grasp all of that stuff that's been happening, and the fact that we fought back. We tried to push for United States of Africa. So, is this useful for you? Do you think? Or do you think it's already there and we are lacking in reconnecting?
First of all, I think Kwame Nkrumah was something out of the ordinary because he never got a chance to learn from predecessors, a pace setter who set a framework for a continent. To me, as an African, I think we've been a bit disappointed for not following through his vision. Yes, he had his flaws, but it is time to go back to the drawing table. I've been to a number of African countries, and you mentioned I'm from Ghana, and they start mentioning Kwame Nkrumah, and I am now learning new things through this documentary. So it means how educated am I, and what about the ordinary person who is not even a student of government? So my recommendation would be that this work should be expanded. Maybe there is more. Of course, there is more to be digitized. And when it is professionally done, as we have seen today, it should be disseminated to everybody. If you don't know your story, who is going to narrate it for you? So we must know our story, and it must come through the groundbreaking work done by Reverend Chris Hesse. I must say, share a personal experience I had with him. I was in the office one day when they said some old man was looking for me. So, you know, so many people are looking for acting high commissioner. So, okay, let me listen to him. So, when I got in there, and he said, "This is one Nkrumah's personal photographer." Then I paused. I said, "Okay, Dad, how may I help you?" Then he narrated his frustration about years that it had taken for him to drown the case home for the digitization of films lying idle in a warehouse. Oh no, Iron Mountain. That very moment, I thought something had come over me. I said, on behalf of Ghana, we do apologize if there was a delay in uh, making this possible. So I took all the information from him. I went back into the files, and everything he said was true. It was just about someone getting the contract signed so the documents, the films could be digitized. I'm very happy we have a new High Commissioner who is very dynamic, who could also understand that time is not on our side. So we send a reminder to Accra, and in no time, the government gave a directive to GNPC, as I said earlier on. So now the race is on to get the disbursements done, and then the work will be done. And I'm very happy we are celebrating this man whilst he's still with us. We should not wait until he touches base with eternity before we come with long changes.
Thank you so much. Please. Could you tell us about the undocumented project and how you personally have been a custodian of your own history, bringing out Ghanaian archives, and maybe give us some hope that we could do the same. We could follow your footsteps and footsteps of Chris Hesse and this film and Mr. Badu's.
So the Documented Project was essentially helping those who are interested in archiving learn more about the process of archiving and helping them digitize certain aspects of it could be home movies and so on. Because I know back in the 80s and 90s, most of us were having home parties, and so we were documenting aspects of African culture. Most of us were first generation coming into the UK, and so we were bringing the culture from our homeland into the diaspora for many communities for the first time and adapting it to the UK. So there was such a rich heritage. And so what the undocumented process enabled us to do was to be able to digitize it and begin to tell our stories. Unfortunately for me, because my work is centered around Ghanaian people, I spoke to some elders who carried out some of the first African traditions in the UK, Commonwealth being our annual festival, and had we were able to digitize the recordings of those festivals. And through the digitization and speaking to the elders, they were very meticulous in keeping records, minutes. And so we're hoping to be able to start digitizing all of those, the discussions that they were having, how they were going to bring the dances over, what they were going to do in terms of traditions that were maybe done by royalty or family elders, how they would transition that in the UK. I also managed to see a video of myself at 9 years old in the African drums, which I'd never seen before, and that, brought some emotion. But what that enabled me to do, because when people talk to you about your history, and a lot of the time they have very negative, stereotypical things to say about your people, what archives help me to do is tell them who's lying. This is not the case, and this is my evidence, and I'm going to teach the next generation. When the next generation are inspired to believe in who they are, they develop even bigger things, they develop even greater things. I'm looking for the day that we develop treatments that are based on our ancestral learning and our teaching. And so this is the importance of having these archives. There's evidence that we existed, there's evidence of our story, and it's an opportunity for us to tell a narrative that helps build us rather than what the colonialists do, which is to try and break us down through those stories. So I'm very grateful to Undocumented because this is the first time we've been able to digitize these more videos from the 80s and the 90s for all to see how we practice our culture outside of our homeland.
Fantastic. You can find out more about Undocumented on our website, so tnbfc.co.uk, and you will see now on the website as well. It's amazing. I'm sorry, but we've got only time for 2 more questions, but we can take questions outside, if that's okay, guys. Really appreciate it. So who has asked a question? They take one all the way at the back, and then one more over here. Thank you so much. Go for it, my dear.
Right. Oh, okay. The question is, I really loved this. This has been, I was been so excited about this project. I've invited friends. I've just been with my mom just to say, like, I really want to find out about this. For me, my one question really is that I've loved this documentary so far, but is there more footage for us to see or another documentary to be done? Because you said just so much more. I'm excited. Maybe there could be more even to see. That's my question.
Fantastic. Mr. Producer, what's next? Because at the end, you talk about all this, only 15 minutes was shown. So please tell us, what's the legacy of this? Can we unmute?
Yes. Sorry. So what is next? What is next is really to use this film as a tool to spark the national advocacy that would push our government to do what needs to be done to ensure that the entire archive is digitized and brought back into Ghana. The idea, and we've been working on engaging with the government of Ghana, is to, and this is one of the biggest dreams of Chris Hesse, is that he said to me, I remember the first time I met him, is that one of the things he wants to see before he leaves the earth is to have these films digitized and brought to Ghanaian classrooms so that school children in Ghana will be able to see these films, and it's part of the things that he's praying for. And so for us, working on this film, we are pushing this with the government, that this be done. It takes money, and the government has to pay for it. Everybody who has come to the screenings in Accra has gotten on board, and we hope to start some sort of social media advocacy to push this to happen. The film itself, there's huge interest in Ghana, in several parts of the world, people wanting to see it. And I think that is also one of the biggest things that we are working on to happen now. The idea that Ben has is that this film must be seen by everybody, and so he wants a platform that doesn't have a paywall, doesn't stand in between anybody that needs to see it. And so he's working towards that as well. And so first is to send the film and the message as far as possible, and then also get this advocacy going, and also to let people know that it is not just these archives that are in London. If you look, all the archive footage that were worked on. Some were gotten from the United States. There's the stuff that were taken from Russia. There were archive footage that were taken from China, where Osajifo was when the coup happened in 1966. And so you would realize from the trail that our history and the things that define our history are scattered around the world. And part of the things that we wish to see happen is a conscious national effort to want to organize properly all of this history in a way that we are able to put together and properly store, disseminate, and then tell our story. And we hope that I'm happy that we have someone from the Kenyan High Commission there, and he stating the commitment of the government. But we do need more than just words, because if you speak to Chris, his frustration, and he says it to everybody that he meets. The time was when the government of Ghana actually stopped paying the rent, and so at some point, these negatives had to be thrown in the open, in the snow in London, because the government of Ghana just stopped paying the rent for the storage, and so the company that was storing it had no option than to leave them in the open in the snow. Chris Hesse had to fly to London to go walk into the Ghanaian High Commission to ensure that that had to be picked back, and it's really heartbreaking if you look at what has gone. And we hope that this film becomes that piece of work that tickles our national conscience as a country and moves us to want to do more in properly storing and keeping our history.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I'm really sorry, but we have to end it there. But again, we can take the questions outside. But please help me give a round of applause to our amazing panel. Well, I heard first and online for Justice. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been brilliant. The company that's been working on the digitization is Restore, and the undocumented project works with Restore. So I think if we can stay in touch, and if you have archives, please let's work together. Let's learn to be archivists and give up our time to help digitize this film and the rest, maybe in other countries, a part of our continent, so we can tell our truth and preserve our stories. So thank you once more to you guys for even coming and sharing this special time with us. And please have a safe journey home. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.